Hello everyone, welcome on BioFun Learning. This is Dr. Savita Agrahari, your biology teacher, and in this session we are going to start class 9 chapter 5, that is the fundamental unit of life. We have already completed part 1 of this chapter and this is the part 2 of the fundamental unit of life. How are you all? Hope all of you are doing great, especially staying healthy and happy. This is very important. So take a good care of yourself, take precautions, and things will get back normal very soon. So let's start our session with a positive quote as usual. So today's quote is, you can learn something new every day if you listen. Means knowledge is when you learn something every day. When you talk, you are repeating what you know. But when you listen, you learn something new. When you pay attention, then there opens a possibility that you may learn something new. So for good learner, you have to be a good listener and make it a promise to yourself to always to improve yourself. If you haven't subscribed my channel yet, then please do subscribe so that you can get the notifications of my upcoming videos. So let's start our chapter, the fundamental unit of life. We have already discussed that the fundamental unit of life is cell. Fundamental means the basic, very important unit of life. So the basic and very important unit of life is what? Cell. Cell is the base of all living organisms. Cell is vital for all living organisms. It may be humans, animals, plants, bacteria, fungi, any living thing. So the cell is the basic fundamental unit of life. This chapter is a foundation for your higher study, so listen it carefully. If you are NEET aspirants, then it is very important topic for you. So this is the content. We are going to discuss in this session cell membrane, diffusion, osmosis, hypotonic, hypertonic and isotonic solutions, cell wall, nucleus, chromosome, gene, cytoplasm. Before we are going to discuss all these things, let's do a quick recap of our previous sessions for your better understanding so that you can remember what we have already studied in our previous session. So in discovery of cell, we have studied the Robert Hooke observed first cell from the cork of bark of the tree. It was dead cell and the first living cell was discovered by Antony van Leeuwenhoek. He observed first living cell and also he invented first microscope. Then Robert Brown discovered nucleus in the cell and Purkinje coined the term protoplasm for fluid substance of the cell. Then the cell theory was proposed by Schleiden, Schwann and Virchow. The cell theory states that all living organisms are composed of one or more cells. Cell is the basic unit of life and the new cell arises from the pre-existing cell. So these are some major events in the discovery of cell. Then we have studied what is unicellular and multicellular organism means. Unicellular means uni means one. That means the single celled organism. For example, amoeba, paramecium, euglena. And multicellular means these organisms are made up of many cells, means more than one cell. For example, plants, animals, humans, fungi. Also, we have studied different shape and size of the cell. Some cells are irregular in shape, that is amoeba and WBC. They are changing their shape. And another is regular shaped cells. For example, RBCs, disc-like shape, and spindle muscle cells, etc. The shape of the cell is depending on their function, what role they are playing. Each living cell has the capacity to perform certain basic function. We know that there is a division of labor in multicellular organisms such as human beings. This means that our different parts of the human body perform different functions. The human body has heart to pump the blood, a stomach to digest food, like that. Similarly, division of labor is also seen within a single cell. In fact, each cell has got certain specific components within it known as cell organelles. Each kind of cell organelles perform a specific function, such as making a new material in the cell, clearing the waste material from the cell, so on. A cell is able to live and perform its function because of cell organelles. These organelles together constitute a basic unit called cell. It is interesting that all cells are found to have the same organelles no matter what their functions is or what organisms they are found in. In all living organisms, the cell is more or less similar. So the typical cell has three parts: plasma membrane, nucleus, and the cytoplasm. We are going to study them in detail after a while. Students, don't mug up or memorize just for marks. Try to understand the things. It's very interesting, and whenever we are studying about living organism, it's very interesting. It's a beauty of nature. We should appreciate it. So here you can see plant cell and animal cell. Both are eukaryotic cell. The outermost covering of plant cell is cell wall and the outermost covering of animal cell is the cell membrane. Otherwise, the major organelles in both plant cells and animal cells are mostly same with slight difference. It is just because of their requirements are different. But both of them are equally important. So let's start studying them in detail. First is the plasma membrane or cell membrane. Plasma membrane को ही हम cell membrane कहते हैं. Plasma membrane is found in all cells. It separates the interior part of the cells from the outside environment, means exterior part of the cells. It is the outermost delicate elastic covering of the animal cell. But in plant and bacterial cell, the cell wall is the outermost covering attached to the cell membrane that we will study after a while. Plasma membrane is selectively permeable, means it allows entry of certain substances and restricting the other substances. You can compare it with a guard of your building. What guard will do? He will allow only few people that required inside the building and don't allow the unknown or unwanted people. मतलब प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन या सेल मेम्ब्रेन आउटरमोस्ट कवरिंग होती है एनिमल सेल्स में, लेकिन प्लांट सेल या बैक्टीरियल सेल में आउटरमोस्ट कवरिंग होती है सेल वॉल. सेल वॉल के अंदर वाली जो लेयर होती है वो होती है प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन. इन केस ऑफ बैक्टीरियल एंड प्लांट सेल्स सेम प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन सेमी परमिएबल होती है. सेमी परमिएबल मतलब वो सिर्फ कुछ ही सब्सटेंस को अलाउ करती है सेल के अंदर आने के लिए. जैसे कि आपके घर का दरवाज़ा, उसमें सिर्फ कुछ ही लोग जो फैमिलियर है, जो नोन है, वही एंटर कर सकते हैं. अननोन पीपल्स कैनॉट एंटर इनटू योर हाउस. प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन इज मेड अप ऑफ अ लिपिड bilayer and a protein are integrated inside and outside of lipid bilayer. Small carbohydrates are attached to outer surface of the lipids and proteins. Here you can see a closer look of cell membrane, how it looks like. It is one zoomed in portion. As you can see, it is a lipoprotein layer. Here you can see the ball like structure with hairs. It is a phospholipid bilayer. Bi means two layers of lipids outside and inside, along with the proteins integrated inside it. This membrane separates extracellular space that is outside the cell membrane and inside the space that is cytoplasm inside the cell. This model of cell membrane is known as fluid mosaic model. This is just for your understanding. Need not to know more in details for this grade. You must know structure and function of plasma membrane in this grade only. So these are the main functions of plasma membrane. It provides support to the cell. It provides shape to the cell, especially animal cell. It provides protection to the cell. It is semi-permeable and allows exchange of selected material takes place through the cell membrane, transport nutrients into the cell and also transport toxic substance outside the cell. Examiner will ask many times why cell membrane is semi-permeable. Then you should know. Here you can better understand what is the semi-permeable means. There are three types: impermeable, permeable, and semi-permeable. Impermeable means substance cannot pass through the membrane. For example, wall. Any substance cannot pass through the wall. Permeable means it allows all the material to pass through the membrane. Here you can see in this picture, water is passed through this permeable surface. That means this surface allows it to pass through. And semi-permeable means it allows exchange of selected material to pass through. Like cell membrane, what cell membrane do? It allows only selected nutrient material which is required by the cell to pass through in it and exchange toxic material outside. For example, a stainer is used for tea filtration and sieve is used for separation of flour, or just I have explained like door of the house or guard of the building. One important thing you all must know that the substance always move from higher concentration to lower concentration, so keep in mind. Substances may pass across the membrane with or without energy. There are two types of transport: active transport and passive transport. In active transport, the substance passes through the membrane with using energy in the form of ATP. And in passive transport, substances pass through the membrane without using ATP or energy. The flexibility of cell membrane also enables the cell to engulf in food and other materials from its external environment. Such process is known as endocytosis. Engulf करना मतलब निगल जाना या खा लेना, तो फूड को खा लेता है सेल या जो भी अदर मटेरियल्स होता है उसको engulf कर लेता है, मतलब खा लेता है. इस प्रोसेस को कहते हैं endocytosis. Amoeba takes food through such process of endocytosis, and excretion or secretion of material outside the cell is known as exocytosis. So the waste material or toxic material excreted by exocytosis. So here we are going to study two types of passive transport, that is diffusion and osmosis. Passive transport means substance pass through the membrane without using ATP or energy. So let's study them in detail. Diffusion is the process of movement of substance or particles. It may be liquid or gas. The movement of particles from region of high concentration to the region of lower concentration till the equilibrium is reached or spread uniformly. Here you can see the particles are moved from higher concentration to lower concentration through the cell membrane till the same concentration on both the sides of the cell membrane. Some substances like carbon dioxide and oxygen can move across the cell membrane by a process called diffusion. As you know, carbon dioxide is cellular waste and requires to be excreted out of the cell. When CO2 accumulates in high concentration inside the cell and outside the cell, means the external environment of the cell, the concentration of CO2 is low as compared to the inside of the cell. So there is the difference in concentration of CO2 inside and outside of the cell. Then CO2 moves from inside of the cell to the outside. That is from region of higher concentration to region of lower concentration, that is outside of the cell by the process of diffusion. Like that, oxygen enters the cell by the process of diffusion when the concentration of oxygen inside the cell decreases. Here you can see the red blood cells in blue color and red color. In blue color where the concentration of CO2 is high, and in red color the concentration of oxygen is high. So the diffusion plays an important role in gaseous exchange between the cell cytoplasm as well as the cell and its external environment. Flowers spread aroma through diffusion to attract insects and other animals for pollination. Osmosis is defined as the diffusion of water or solvent across a semi-permeable membrane from region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. Plasma membrane functions as semi-permeable membrane. In osmosis, only liquid can pass through the membrane, and in diffusion, both liquid and gases can pass through the membrane. Now tell me, what will happen if we put an animal cell or a plant cell into a solution of sugar or salt in water? Have you ever imagined? Let's study. One of these following three things could happen. It depends upon osmotic solution. Osmotic solution means those solution which can cause osmosis. So the number one thing can happen if the solution is hypertonic solution, means the medium surrounding the cell has higher water concentration than the cells gain water by the osmosis. Water molecules are free to pass across the cell membrane in both the direction. But here in hypotonic solution, more water will come into the cell than will leave the cell. The cell is likely to swell up, and in animal cell it get lysed or burst, and in plant cell it will be turgid and swells up or bloated. That we will discuss after a while when we study cell wall. And the second thing will happen if the medium is isotonic solution. That means water concentration of cell and outer medium is exactly same, so there will be no net movement of water across the cell membrane. Water crosses in both the direction through the cell membrane, but the amount going in is the same as the amount going out, so there is no overall movement of water. The cell will stay the same size. Here you can see animal cell will stay normal and plant cell will also stay normal, flaccid, soft. And the third possibility is that if the medium is hypertonic solution, means medium has lower concentration of water than cell, so the more water leaves the cell or water moves outside the cell, therefore the cell will shrink. As you know, we are using sugar and salt for food preservation. Jams and jellies are hypertonic with sugar and pickles are hypertonic with salt. There are two types of osmosis. One is endoosmosis and second is exoosmosis. In endoosmosis, water enters into the cell. When we place cell in a lower concentration of hypotonic solution, the water enters the cell by a process called endoosmosis. Cell swells up in this case. If you put resins in water, after some time, the resin swells up. आपने घर में कभी किया होगा, रेजिन्स मतलब किशमिश आपने कभी पानी में भिगो के रख दी, कुछ देर बाद वो फूल जाती है क्योंकि वाटर एंटर करता है थ्रू द सेल मेम्ब्रेन and it swells up. You can try this experiment at your home. In exosmosis, water withdrawal from the cell when a cell is placed in higher concentration solution, that is hypertonic solution. Then the water comes out of the cell by a process called exosmosis. Cell shrinks in this case. If we put grapes in salt solution, then the grapes will shrink after some time because of exosmosis. Egg osmosis experiment. Here you have to remove the shell of an egg by dissolving it in dilute hydrochloric acid. The shell is mostly calcium carbonate. Put the deshell egg into water. After 5 minutes, the egg swells because the water passes into the egg by osmosis. And if we put deshelled egg in concentrated salt solution, it will shrink after 5 minutes because the water passes out of the egg solution into the salt solution, because the salt solution is more concentrated. Now let's move towards the cell wall. In plant cell, an additional layer called cell wall overlies the plasma membrane. Cell wall is rigid, semi-elastic and protective covering outside the plasma membrane in plant cells, fungi and prokaryotes. It is absent in animal cells. It is non-living membrane. It is made up of cellulose in plants. Here you can see one small zoomed in portion of the cell wall where you can see the cellulose and microfibrils. It is made up of cellulose chains, and cellulose chains is made up of cellulose molecules, that is glucose and cellobiose. You need not to go in depth of this or in detail of this, But you should know that the cell wall is made up of cellulose in plants, and in fungi it is made up of cellulose and chitin. Cell wall possesses small pores through which the adjacent cells remain connected, called plasmodesmata. Plasmolysis in plant cells. So what is plasmolysis? If a plant cell is placed in a hypertonic solution, then the plant cell loses water through osmosis. There is a shrinkage or contraction of the contents of the cell away from the cell wall. This phenomenon is known as plasmolysis. Cell wall will not shrink because cell wall is rigid. Here you can see contraction of cytoplasm and the organelles of the cell, that green portion in the center. It occurs only in living cells and not in dead cells. Now let's have a look on functions of the cell wall. Cell wall provides mechanical support to the cell. It maintains shape of the cell. In case of plant cells specifically, it is freely permeable. It allows all the material to exchange. It protects against various temperature, high wind, etc. Plant exposed to these variations because they cannot move. So they have to be protected against these variations. So cell wall protect against these variations of temperature, high wind, etc. Cell wall protects against pathogens and mechanical injury. The growth of the cell wall determines the growth of the cell. Cell wall prevents the bursting of the cell on endosmosis. Does cell wall and plasma membrane performs the same function? No. Cell wall and plasma membrane are different. Cell wall occurs in plant cell. Plasma membrane occurs in plant cell and animal cell both. Cell wall lies on the outside of the plant cell. Plasma membrane lies on outside of the animal cell and inside in the plant cell. Cell wall is rigid and thick. Plasma membrane is flexible and thin. Cell wall is permeable, completely permeable, and plasma membrane is selectively permeable or semi-permeable. Cell wall formed of cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin, whereas plasma membrane is formed of lipids and proteins with small number of carbohydrates. Cell wall provides protection and strength to the cell, and plasma membrane holds cellular contents and controls the passage of material. Hope now you understand the difference between the cell wall and the plasma membrane. Now let's move towards the very important component or organelle of a cell, that is nucleus. It is the brain of the cell. So why the nucleus is known as brain of the cells? Because nucleus controls most of its functions. It is important component of the cell. Thus, without a nucleus, an animal cell or eukaryotic cell will die. Without a nucleus, the cell will not know what to do and there would be no cell division. Protein synthesis would be stopped and or incorrect protein would be formed. Although there are few exceptions such as RBCs. RBCs don't have nucleus. The functional unit of RBC is hemoglobin. It binds to oxygen and carbon dioxide and carry them from one part of body to another part. So this function doesn't require nucleus. That's why RBC works without nucleus very efficiently. The nucleus is a membrane-bound organelle, means it has a nuclear membrane surrounding it, which contains the genetic material, that is DNA, or in eukaryotic organisms. It is the largest organelle inside the cell, and it contains the heredity information, which controls the cell activities and as well as transfer the characters from one generation to the another generation. It is located in the center of the cell in case of animal cell, but in plant cell it is located towards the periphery. It is generally spherical in shape. So what is the difference in the nucleus of prokaryotic organisms and eukaryotic organisms? We have already discussed what is prokaryotic organism and eukaryotic organisms in class 8 chapter microorganisms, friends and foe. If you don't know, then please go through this chapter. Link is in the description. In prokaryotic organism, the nucleus is not bounded by nuclear membrane, means the nuclear membrane is absent. It is called nucleoid. Prokaryote. Pro means primitive. Karyon means nucleus. Means primitive nucleus. They don't have well-developed nucleus. They don't have nuclear membrane. For example, bacteria, blue-green algae. And in eukaryotic organism, the nucleus is well developed. The nucleus is surrounded by nuclear membrane and it contains the genetic material DNA. For example, animal cell, plant cell, human cell, fungal cell. So what is nucleus made up of? Nucleus is made up of five important things, that is nuclear membrane or nuclear envelope, nuclear pore, nucleoplasm, nucleolus, and nuclear material or chromatin material. First look at the nuclear envelope. It is the double membrane covering which separates the nucleus from the cytoplasm. It contains many nuclear pores. Here you can see the nuclear membrane in this picture, the outermost covering of the nucleus. Then the nuclear pores. Nuclear pores are the small pores present on the nuclear membrane. It allows the exchange of material between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. Then the nucleoplasm. Nucleoplasm is the cytoplasm of the nucleus. Like the cytoplasm inside the cell membrane, it is the cytoplasm of the nucleus, that is called nucleoplasm. It is colorless, dense sap found inside the nucleus in which chromatin and the nucleolus are suspended. Next is the nucleolus. Nucleolus is the round structure found inside the nucleus. It is rich in DNA and protein. It is the site of ribosome formation that you will study in higher grades. And now the most important part of the cell is the nuclear material or chromatin material. The nucleus of the cell contains chromosomes which are visible as rod-shaped structure only when the cell is about to divide. Chromosomes carry genetic information in a long molecule called DNA. DNA molecule contains information necessary for constructing and organizing cells. The functional segment of DNA is called gene. Chromosomes and genes. Here we can better understand what is chromosome and genes. Lots of students have this confusion. So the chromosomes are composed of DNA and protein. In a cell which is not dividing, means in a normal cell which is not going to be divided, this DNA is present as a part of chromatin material. It looks like a thread. It is thread-like structure. But when the cell is about to divide, the chromatin material get organized into the chromosomes. Here you can see the chromosomes in blue color. A chromosome contains 100 to thousands of genes. Genes are the working subunits of DNA. A gene is the basic physical and functional unit of heredity. Some genes act as instructions to make molecules called proteins, and however many genes do not code for the proteins. Genes are the hereditary material means which carries the characters from one generation to another generation, means from parents to offsprings. Now the functions of the nucleus. As you know, the nucleus is very important organelle of the cell. It is known as brain of the cell. It regulates the cell cycle. The nucleus plays central role in cellular reproduction, in cell division. Nucleus directs chemical activities of the cell. And gene helps in transmission of characters from parents to offsprings. Means genes are the hereditary material. Means if you are having blue eyes and your mother is also having blue eyes, then this character or gene of blue eyes is coming from your mother. And if your father is having curly hairs and you are also having curly hair, then this character of curly hair or gene of curly hair is coming from your father. So like that, the gene is the hereditary material. So let's move toward the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the jelly-like substance which fills the cell and holds all other the organelles. It is present between the cell membrane and nucleus. Various other components or organelles are present in the cytoplasm. For example, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, mitochondria, plastids, vacuoles, chloroplasts, etc. Organelles are metabolic machinery of the cells. Means the cell wants to prepare something or to destroy something. then all this is just because of organelles that are present in the cytoplasm, that we will be studying in detail in our next sessions. And I want to share with you that we are conducting online classes for biology. If you are interested, then you can mail us or comment us. And if you like my video, then please do subscribe, and please like, share my video, and comment us in comment section. And happy learning with BioFun Learning. Take a good care of yourself